Welcome to the Altcoin Hour, your weekly alpha. Yeah, we breaking down the charts, flipping bags, playing smart, from the dips to the moon shots, connecting all the dots. Let's get it. Altcoin Hour.
All right. Welcome to the show, guys. Hope you guys are doing very well. I had an issue. I hope my phone's working well. So again, hand clap. That was a little glitchy right there. Hand clap to you. Man. We are in a deep freeze. LMFG, are you with us, brother? I think you're back there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome to the show, brother. Hand clap to you as well. Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're staying very warm too. I don't know what the temps are over there. We were talking about this last week, about this winter storm coming, and I think you guys are probably going to get a little double dose of it this weekend. How's everything going over there in the hills?
Yeah, kind of lucked out. We only got like maybe a half inch of ice. We didn't even lose power. I got myself so set up, and that's what I told the wife. I said, I filled up the bathtubs, got gas, got everything already, got food, and nothing.
So you're good.
Yeah, it's all good. The driveway's all melted already, rock and roll.
Yeah, that's good, man. Welcome to the show, Mom. Hope you're doing good, staying warm over there. We got a lot to talk about, bro. Now, there were some things that came across the boards, news boards today, relating to something that happened a couple of days ago that I think we should get into. It's about that U.S. government Bitcoin wallet that was kind of brazed, if you will. I think 40 million was taken out of that strategic reserve wallet. And the interesting, intricacies of it, we're going to get into it because I thought it was pretty interesting in how this happened, how everything took place. And you had Zach XBT. He got involved with the investigation as well. It's pretty ugly. Did you get a good hear about on this particular situation? U.S. government Bitcoin crypto theft allegations. CEO's son was involved. Some CEO's son. We're going to get into the nuances of it, but that kind of shook me up a little bit. I'm like, is this strategic reserve notion? Is it going to be secure? Right? We keep getting told that no one's going to be selling this Bitcoin, this and that, but we just had a pretty good breach of this. What's your take on that? We'll get into it in a little bit more in depth, but pretty interesting,
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
Was it a third party holding that wallet?
We're definitely going to get into it. This is, the whole thing is you have a lot of states that are going to be doing this going forward. So we want to make sure these reserves are secure, right? So, this was a pretty massive failure. We did get some situations weekly prior to this as well of some Bitcoin that's being held by the government that was actually removed as well, or sold accidentally, unquote. So, and then we have this $40 million, which was seized crypto assets, which belong to the U.S. government as well. They're calling it a hack. We'll get into the nuances of it, but it's pretty disturbing. I don't like this, I think these reserves and this Bitcoin should be secured. I think we need to figure out how to secure this because we have this quantum threat, which is 15 years out. That's going to, rear its ugly head too as well. So we have resistance, capabilities that are being developed, but, LMFG, I don't think we could actually do that without any attack data, right? In order to, be resistant, in order to get ready for this attack, we actually need to be attacked. Somebody needs to get hit by a quantum threat. So I believe then you can take that data and really form some resistance. I could be wrong though. Maybe simulations can work. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think the simulations can work, but my thing is, again, it's not going to be overnight. This is going to take months for a quantum computer to break through this. Maybe 6 months. So you're going to spend all that money and power on this. Mm-hmm. I guess you're a thief, and you got millions of dollars to blow on building this thing. And let me say millions of dollars just running the thing. It's probably going to cost you billions to build one.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Boys. I mean, this is a whole nother world. And you're going to use that technology to go after blockchain? I don't know. I mean, and granted, you're going to have bad actors out there that'll do it, but you're going to know who owns these things because you're going to be able to see what they're buying to build it.
Yeah. No doubt. it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. We got some wild predictions to go through too as well. Michael Saylor coming out with really wild predictions with Bitcoin. Kathy Woods is back. She's not at 2 mil. She was at 2.5 mil. She's down to around 500,000 LMFG. So she did bring her predictions down a lot. Tom Lee is actually admitting that gold and silver is basically sucking the oxygen out of the room right now. We'll get into that, man, because gold is almost $5,200. You're looking at silver, $111 LMFG, copper, $6, approaching $6. Did you ever think you would see silver almost at $120? Most certainly, I didn't think so. But is it sucking the oxygen? Is it sucking the actual life out of crypto? Bitcoin, essentially. What you think? I think so. I think so.
Yeah, like everybody's looking at it as at the safe hold, and they're all nervous about what's going to happen with this Clarity Act. I mean, some guys are saying, "Oh yeah, next week or it's the 27th, right? A couple days, or today they were supposed to do something." No way. This thing's getting kicked down the road. And we got telling you, if it wasn't for Armstrong, this wouldn't be pretty right now.
Well, a lot of people are saying he's actually, putting a damper on the efforts. I don't know. I like what he's doing, but at the same time, there's an agenda here. Coinbase has made a lot of money off of those rewards, off of USDC, off of the stablecoin situation, lots of money. So that's a lot of revenue that the stockholders of Coinbase, just in case you didn't know, there are shares out there, Coinbase shares. They're wanting, the best for the shareholders, obviously. And this is when you go public, this is one of the things that happens, the whole dynamics change. So it's not a private situation. So we'll see. I like what Brian is doing for the industry. As Trump says, I don't see the crypto space as an industry, but let's just call it that because that's what everybody's calling it. I think he's doing the right thing, but I think he's going to need some help, bro, because they did delay the vote. We're going to get into what's going on. I got a nice report on the Clarity Act. We're going to get into that, but let's go ahead and go to the market, man. Let's see what's going on because I think it's some interesting things that are happening here. And it will get me off the page here. So Bitcoin, LMFG, we did talk about Bitcoin. It's 88,000. This thing got really close to 86,000. We do know. Now, a lot of people are saying Michael Saylor is actually holding this floor. We joked about that last year, but I think it's a culmination of, ETFs, institutions, Michael Saylor and other institutional investors that we just don't know about. A lot of people that are buying Bitcoin, they're not on X, right? They don't have a fund. These are just rich people, rich individuals that are trying to actually move money into something that can double or triple their actual profits. And they think it's a safe situation too as well. Now, when you see metals that are actually sucking the oxygen, this is from Tom Lee, out of the actual space, that has to be scary for a lot of people who have been buying Bitcoin this entire time. I would argue that the ETFs are actually holding the floor along with the investors like Michael Saylor, which he's bought a lot of Bitcoin. But there are a lot of other, situations that are providing this robust floor, if you will. What's your take on that? Do you think it's just Saylor? Because a lot of people are thinking it's just Saylor with his amazing buyership. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things, not just Michael Saylor.
Right, yeah, I'd say the ETFs, the whole 9 yards, all the way across the board. Right now, I think you're shaking out the retail bad. This is what they want. Look at XRP, what's happening right now, because they're hating on Garlinghouse because he's saying, go ahead, the Clarity Act, you don't need the yields. And then they just became full-fledged, like out in Turkey. They were running a pilot and they just signed up to it. So the pilot's over a lot.
I believe so.
And then I think here they've just been approved, or it's going through as a national bank. They'll be able to handle a checking account soon.
So we're talking about the Brad Garlinghouse, Larson, the XRP.
Yep.
That's what you're talking. Okay, because I know that's crazy, man. Because you have Trump too, which Elizabeth Warren was trying to block World Liberty Finance's bank charter, and she lost. She did not win that fight. You don't want to hand clap that, because it's worth a hand clap, right?
100.
I think it's worth a hand clap. She lost that fight. So, God bless her. She's been fighting the good fight, the bad fight, the anti-crypto fight for a long time. But I think she's finally going to capitulate because you can only take so many losses. This was a big one for her because she thinks the Trump family shouldn't be involved in crypto, but I believe it's a necessary evil to get us across that particular line that we need to get to. It is what it is, I guess. This is how we're going to get there, but we still have a lot of roadblocks, guys. $88,000 is Bitcoin. It's up almost 1.5% within a 24-hour period. Nice selling. We do have the selling that's going on. You mentioned our XRP. We're going to get into that, but I want to get into Cathie Wood's actual statements on Bitcoin, because I thought this was pretty interesting what she said here.
We are in it to win it, absolutely. So ARKB, right, is our spot Bitcoin ETF. As we assess the ecosystem right now, what we've undergone in the last 2 to 3 months are the reverberations after 1010. So 1010, October 10th, was what in the crypto world, I'm not sure if it's mentioned this more broadly, is the flash crash associated with a software glitch on Binance that deleveraged the system, and to the tune of $28 billion. There are a lot of people hurt. And we think that unwind, and often when you go through an unwind, Bitcoin's going to be hit the hardest because it's the most liquid crypto asset. We think that unwind is pretty much behind us. So now the only thing I think investors are worried about, especially institutional investors who understand that they must examine this as a new asset class, the leader in a new asset class, very low correlation with other asset classes. And so they're looking at what's called the 4-year cycle. And we have been down. And the question is the 4-year cycle, the downside of it, over?
Right.
We think it's pretty much pushed through. Maybe we flatten out here in the 80 to 90,000 range base here for a while, but we think we'll be on our way soon.
So LMFG, you know what I think about cycles? I think they're dead. Cathie says we're coming out of this, the latter part of the cycle. Obviously the institutions are still buying into the cycles. I think the dynamics have changed. What's your take on what she said? Because some of that I agree with, but the cycle mantra, I think is done. I think it's done. And the way these geopolitics are playing out, the way gold and silver is actually skyrocketing. I mean, that leads me to believe that everything is changing, and we need to get on that bandwagon. We need to understand that we have to think about these things differently going forward.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That cycle's over to having. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then my thing was just this weekend, Sunday. Look what happened. And I didn't realize, and so I read something, I forget what article it was, maybe CoinDesk or something, about how little Bitcoin is decentralized. Yeah. And there's like the majority, I didn't realize that, like 60%, a very limited amount of pools that are running.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, you had a miner shutdown. A lot of miners shut down due to the
more because of expense.
Right.
The cost would be you're not getting 6 Bitcoin. Now you're getting 3 if you make that hash rate. And the thing was, the hash rate went down so low. I guess if you were hanging in there, you probably did pretty good over the weekend.
Yeah. Well, when you have these weather issues too, LMFG, we have to factor in the weather issue. With this,
that's what it is. A couple large data centers went down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got miners are going to, now this is what they're saying. A lot of the miners are going to be selling a lot of Bitcoin due to this shutdown, due to the weather issues that basically, you can't. A lot of the states are penalizing these mining conglomerates and these big time mining fields. You get penalized if you continue to mine during a catastrophic load on the grid, essentially. And this is what these winter storms do. They put a large load on the grid. And if you continue to mine, you're going to get fined for that. They'll let you mine, but you're going to pay for that. A lot of these conglomerates and these solo miners, they're just shut down. They can't afford to shell out extra funds, using the electricity during these times. And then if a grid fails, because we had a massive grid failure, from Texas all the way up towards Boston, I believe. Just huge, thousands of miles of, down power lines, things of that nature. I'm sorry. That causes a lot of Bitcoin mining. Hash rate fell tremendously. It's not going to kill Bitcoin, but a lot of these miners, they're going to have to sell their Bitcoin in order to pay the bills because they weren't able to mine. They're still shut down. A lot of them are still shut down. You got a double whammy coming up this weekend for the East Coast. We were talking about this earlier, to where you're going to have a miner shut down again. So a lot of these guys are going to have to sell some Bitcoin. So this is a little sell pressure going on. And we're talking about the backbone of Bitcoin. The miners, they're going to have to survive through this. So hopefully we don't get any more freakish winter storms. Go ahead, brother.
The shovels and the picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people don't think about that, But the backbone, Bitcoin, it's OG. And those miners, they hit a wall this week, right? And they got to pay for that. And they're going to have to go into their stash. And it's going to be Bitcoin. So it's not going to tank Bitcoin, but, be looking for some downward trajectory going into the next 2 weeks because they're going to have to recoup these losses. So, and geopolitics, oh my God, that's another pressure point as well. So it's going to be very volatile. And we don't know what Jerome is going to do tomorrow. We're going to go live tomorrow. We're going to react to that live. We don't know what he's going to do, but whatever he does, it's going to affect the market. I doubt if he's going to go up, LMFG. I don't think he's going to go up, which he should, but I don't think he's going to go up. But, I don't think it's going to go down either. What'd you take on that before we get to this next video?
Yeah, I say it's already penciled in with the markets. He's going to stay status quo.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah, I think so too. Kind of like what the BOJ did, the Bank of Japan. They could have went up, but they chose not to because their 30-year yield is climbing, and that is horrible for the carry trade. What they did in the intervention that came from America with the intervention into the yen, it didn't work, LMFG. That Japan 30-year yield is still going up, bro. So I don't know what they're going to do. I do not know what's going on. They should have went up, but that would have been catastrophic too. The Japan thing is going to dictate everything going forward. It is what it is. So I want to get into this too. It's kind of like some price points. We'll get back into this.
Investment into CoreWeave that's seen as a net economic stake, and whether the price stays higher than maybe the average person.
No, this is the microsailor thing that I was telling you guys earlier. Now, I'm going to read this caption. CBSN says microsailor and strategies are almost single-handedly setting the floor for Bitcoin, buying at unprecedented rate. This is the consensus. And again, I don't think it's just Michael.
The price stays higher than maybe the average person who bought in at, 20K or whatever. And those Bitcoin miners have actually been moving down today. And that has more to do with the NVIDIA investment into CoreWeave that's seen as a net negative for some of those smaller players. But it speaks to the fact that a lot of these Bitcoin holding companies, whether they're Bitcoin miners like Amera Holdings that keeps Bitcoin on their balance sheet, or Strategy, are very much tied into this trade. And you actually saw finally Strategy add to its position in the last few days, adding $250 million to do exactly that. It's really the corporate buyers, the institutional money that's provided a floor under this price historically in 2025. Really interesting.
So, LMFG, there are a lot of players that are pushing Bitcoin up, right? There are a lot of people that want Bitcoin to get to at least 150K by the middle part of this year. I don't think we're going to get there. And I don't care how many Bitcoin Michael Saylor has in his stash. So if he continues to buy, a lot of this is going to weigh in on retail. I think you still need retail to get to 150K, even to 1 million. And retail is running. Retail is moving a lot of crypto and converting it into gold and silver. Look at what's going on. A lot of people are just converting fiat at this point in time, LMFG. It's not just crypto. Fiat is going into gold and silver and copper, palladium, very, very quickly right now. So, and you have these numbers right here. All these conglomerates are down, essentially, as we move back to the market. LMFG, this is some serious stuff that's going on, serious mass exodus when it comes to not only stocks, but crypto into metals, bro. It's crazy.
I just sent that in an email a little while ago to all my family friends. I said there's mass exodus with retail. And I told everybody, don't get shaken out. Watch what happens, because you're going to see the whales and the institutions come in. And you're only going to come in on the blue chips, probably. You know, they're not going to go on beams, and you might still, like I said, we've seen it, right? They got Shiba and Doge in there. They're putting them into funds, ETF funds, and they'll just look after the high market caps, and that's it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Crazy, you know, and it's the blue chip. So follow who these big boys start putting up there. That's what I say.
No doubt. Now, here's Tom Lee talking about this metal, this mass exodus into the metal.
I think the precious metal move has sucked a lot of the oxygen out of the room. So I think crypto prices aren't quite keeping up with fundamentals. But as you know, when fundamentals go up and to the right, prices eventually follow. And as long as gold and silver are rising, then there's a FOMO into buying that instead of crypto. But of course, that is just a leading indicator, right? Because when gold and silver take a break, then, and in the past, that would lead to a Bitcoin and Ethereum surge afterwards.
So everybody's talking about this, bro. You know, and Tom's been all over the place. He's been absolutely all over the place with the predictions. But I think the common consensus is, oh my God, these metals, they're killing us. They're killing us. Now, I don't want to, we know why, LMFG. Traditionally, when this happens, there's fear. There's a fear of fiat crashing, essentially. And we see that, bro. We actually see that because the dollar has lost a lot of its actual weight. I think $100 has the purchasing power of $20 at this point in time. So that has Gen Z looking very, very strangely right now. You know, they went to college, they've gotten the degrees, right? They spent a lot of time getting these bachelors and all this. They can't get a job. And when they do get a job, they're underpaid. I seen a post where Gen Z is requesting for at least $30 an hour just to get by. This is what they need. $30 an hour. This is how far our currency has fallen. So, and you see gold and silver. I think that those are barometers when it comes to the fiat. And then you see the actual Japan intervention that's going on with the dollar being flooded into the yen. It's getting a little creepy at this point in time. Now you have.
I just seen that the dollar's crashing right now.
No, it is.
Remember, we just said this last week? It was with Buffett, and he bought all the yen. What was that? A couple $100 million.
Oh no, way more than that, brother. Almost $500 million he put into yen. This was months ago.
A few months ago.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. You know, it is not. That experiment is not working out very well. You know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's get into this top 15 countdown so we can get into this this crypto, this $40 million that was stolen from the government, from the Strategic Reserve, actually. And by the way, speaking of Gen Z, they're going hard on the prediction markets, and we'll get into the prediction market outlook too as well. Before we get to that, AVAX, we did get the AVAX ETF, LMFG, you know, hand clap for the AVAX. That went live, Van Eck ETF. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, zero inflow that was registered. You know, that's not good. A lot of these ETFs are going to get approved, but they're going to actually hit a wall. And that didn't really surprise me that the AVAX ETF hit a wall. Zero inflow on the first day. That's crazy. Zero inflow. We'll get those numbers for today, probably tomorrow or later on today. We'll be looking for that. But that didn't really surprise me because when the Ethereum ETF hit, shortly after the Bitcoin ETF hit, it was pretty lackluster as well, but we're getting some pumping in the market here. We're currently over 3 trillion globally, almost 2% up on globally when it comes to the market cap, over 3 trillion again. Bitcoin is actually pumping LMFG. We're getting some buying of the dip. Massive inflow coming into Bitcoin right now at this point in time. We're getting pretty close to 90K once again after that huge drop. You know, a lot of this is coming out from Binance, so we're getting a little retail inflow here, getting some institutional inflow, Coinbase, Crypto.com, a lot of exchanges, a lot of inflow from those exchanges that are going into Bitcoin, which is very, very decent, pushing almost 89.3K right at this point in time. Is this surprising you? You know, obviously they're not going to let this thing fall too far if they can help it. So we are seeing some support coming from the ETF vehicles, from institutions as well, and a lot of exchange inflow, specifically Binance inflow into Bitcoin $3,000 is going to be that ETM price point as well. It is back over $2,000 at $3,000. Everybody's getting a little freakishly crazy with Ethereum. A lot of people are saying that the foundation going through it when it comes to these upgrades. They're going to be pushing ZK, zero knowledge, hard, very, very hard going forward, which I think is beautiful. They need to go ahead and do that. Tether, 99 cents. BNB, $896. BNB is pushing almost $900 once again. There are some issues with market making. I saw some articles over the weekend when it comes to the different exchanges, the differences when it comes to the price of BNB. A lot of discrepancies there. Not too sure what's going on there, but it's pushing almost $900 again. So I don't think anybody's worried about that. XRP, $1.91 there, almost trying to get over 1% on this 7-day period. Within a 24-hour period, even within the hour, the ones that I've just mentioned, they're pumping. So we do have money flow going in. Solana, $127, trying to get back to 130. Tron, 29 cents. Dogecoin, 12 cents. Cardano, 36 cents. LMFG, have you heard anything about ADA in midnight? Yeah, there's some breaking news you might want to talk about.
Yeah, well, he's out there in Japan right now. So they just started that. So he's doing 4 or 5 shows he's going through. And then he's got 3 more throughout the year. And he's just all over it. I mean, Hydra's running, and nice. It's really wow. You guys got to realize all the chains, that was an airdrop. That was not bought. That was to anybody that hold XRP, XLM, you go on, Ethereum, Solana, Binance. If you had that in your wallet, you got an airdrop, but you have to go claim it. If you don't claim it, those are going to get burned. And then I think that's why you've seen that, was it 10, 12 cents it went up to? It's floating back down at 6. And that's a privacy coin, guys. And that's why one of my buddies, he just got a thing, I forget, I think it's Brown or it might have been Ian King, that's turned around and just said Zcash. Watch Zcash buy into it. So they got a buy order on Zcash, right? This is advice for them. And I told them, and I said, yeah. And I said, well, do you think that midnight can blow these guys out of the water? You know, again, I just love that technology of Cardano. It really is something else, and the peer reviewed and all that. I see institutions using Cardano at almost any of them out there. We'll see. See what happens. I like it, and what he's doing with this touring throughout this year. Let's see what happens. And he's in Japan first, and that's where IOHK was built, and that's the Cardano lovers.
Nice, man. Nice report, bro. I hope everything works out, because a lot of people are still pissed, but I think it's a good thing. I think, he's just moving with the times. He's getting ready for the future. And I don't know about that Zcash situation. We had that fracture within the dev team. So I don't know if I would be buying Zcash. That's just me, I think it still has a lot when it comes to downward trajectory.
I told my buddy, you might want to look at night at 6 cents.
Yeah, I'd be careful with Zcash. Yeah, I think it still has a ways to go when it comes to correcting downward, not upward.
And it's at $3.95 today.
Yeah, I think it topped off at $700, right? Yeah, it's up 12%.
Hell, Dash is at $61.
Yeah, that's OG. That's an OG privacy protocol.
I'd be looking at that.
No, Midnight, especially. I think the Midnight is a good buy as well. There's but Monero too. Don't forget about the OG Monero too, as well. You have Dash. Verge. Everybody forgets about Verge.
Monero is at $467.
Right.
And this is just a few hours ago. Because I sent him an email. I don't jerk around and make sure I got the right stuff. I don't want to tell these guys the wrong things.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And Midnight, I don't think it's a gamble. Like I said, it's integrated to all these chains, including the ledgers, Bitcoin. I mean, you can't go wrong. This is a privacy coin, guys. It's something.
Yeah. It was actually, I was trying to look for it. I think it slipped a little bit on the top. No, here it is. It's number 64 here. It's a 6 cent token. I think what is that market cap? It's $1 billion even, I think it is. Yeah, so 16 billion in the supply. currently circulating. So yeah, midnight, we'll see. We'll see.
This was an airdrop, and so that money came in after the airdrop.
Yeah, everything has I don't know if they have any token unlocks, what that schedule is looking like. It's probably pretty early in that particular situation, but always like to look at that too. How many token unlocks are scheduled? How long how many of these tokens are going to get unlocked towards the end of the schedule? That matters too, and a lot of times there's vested, there's time locks, and, it's not really a cliff, some of these things are reinvested into the ecosystem. You have to look at these type of things, guys. When you're investing in these large platforms that have foundations attached to them and DAOs, get into the background, make sure you know what you're getting invested in. Bitcoin Cash, 500, almost $600 again. I should have bought some of that. I could have got that at $200. Bitcoin Cash is probably going to get up to $1,000. I don't think it's ever going to capture the value of Bitcoin, but it's pretty decent where it is now. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. It may get pretty close. If it could capture half of the value, that would be pretty cool for a lot of investors. But Hyperliquid up 40%, 23% within a 24-hour period. So a lot of people are buying the hype coin very, very aggressively. LMFG is trying to get back up to $50. Its competitor, or shall we call it the wannabe Hyperliquid perp exchange, Aster, it's below $1, and a lot of people are really pissed off at CZ about this. It's at 65 cents here. Did drop a lot when it comes to price points, but it's trying to push back. A lot of these alts are trying to pump with Bitcoin at this point in time. You see some actual isolated efforts here that are like Hyperliquid, almost up 50% within a 7-day period, that are pretty interesting. But these perp exchanges made a lot of money. Pump.fun last year made the most. But when it comes to perps, Hyperliquid, Aster, they made a killing. So we'll see how the trend goes this year. I think it may be a little bit upside down this year, but I digress from that. You have XLM 20 cents, which is down. This is one of the rare ones that are down with Monero as well. Zcash, you talked about Zcash. I think that still has a lot of downward trajectory to go. I think it's going to bottom out at $200 at LMFG. We're at $398 when it comes to Zcash. Canton, which is a newcomer here, number 19, currently been selected by the government for some activities as well going forward, up 22%. Suchain had a catastrophic core failure, but it seems to be back and running pretty good. It is down 3% on the 7-day period as well. Litecoin, 70 cents. AVAX, magnificent ETF launch, but no inflow for the first day. We'll see what happens after today, but we did get that AVAX, VanEck ETF, and we're going to see a whole lot more going forward. Shiba Inu at top 25, going to round that top 25 up across the board. Not very much. It actually overtook an H-bar, which has their own ETF situation going. And you have World Liberty Finance, 15 cents. A lot of people are upset that you had World Liberty Finance convert a lot of the ETH. A lot of the actual funds that were extracted from WFI. That went into ETH over the weekend. A lot of people were kind of weirdly, had a reaction to that. But be looking for the World Liberty Financial situation to do a lot of that going forward. So that is the market. We got to get into some other news here, guys, because I think what we're about to talk about, I think is very interesting when it comes to the prediction markets. We'll get into the AVAX, but let's get into a Clarity Act update, because I think we need to get that going as well. So let's get into the hand clap for the market. Let's go ahead and get that in. There we go. Hand clap for the market. Let's go ahead and get into this Clarity Act update. In LMFG, this is what I wanted to talk about, because I think when it comes to the Clarity Act, we need clarity. And there it is right there. Let's get into it. And this is a market structure bill to update as well. Let's get into this.
Reading and reviewing. I think they will move forward with their markup this week. The Ag Committee issued a draft late last night that people are now reading and reviewing. And hopefully the senators will work on a bipartisan basis to amend that draft, to make it stronger, to make it better, to continue their negotiations in the areas where there wasn't resolution. There was an earlier draft of the Ag Committee that had a lot of bipartisan compromises in it, and some of those compromises were left out. So my hope is that those senators can get back to the drawing board and try to re-include some of those compromises that I thought were very strong.
Now, as of today, as of right now, nothing is happening. Now, they did remove an actual, and I have a more, I'm trying to find a more thorough update on this. I don't know where but I did have it queued up, and I hope it did not get actually removed. Let me see if I can find that. So there was an actual provision. Okay, I found it. There was an actual provision here that was actually removed. And it had a lot to do with the credit card swipe fees. I don't know why they were actually putting this into this bill, LMFG. And we talk about the pork. We talk about how the sausage is made a lot when it comes to bills. They were trying to slide in a lot of weird things into this market structure bill. And one of them had to do with credit card swiping fees. Why are we doing this with this bill? We had a couple of senators that had all this struck out.
A real quick one in there. When I went to the children's place, right, they had the mainframe, and I told you they had 80 modems, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And it was all about the credit card swipes. They did all of them internally because they did that, and that only cost them about 2 cents a swipe, and that was with all the lines and the way it was set up. Compared to back then, it was 10 or 12 cents that you had to pay MasterCard or Visa or American Express. Today, I believe those fees are 20 cents. So for a merchant, a small guy, Walmart, they don't care. And then they negotiate. They say, "Oh yeah, you want $1 million? Yeah, we'll give you 750 grand. Are you good? Yeah, okay." The small guy can't do that, and that becomes there's your profit.
Yeah.
It hurts.
I'm just wondering if they're trying to cut the fees, go lower, or rise them. I was trying to get some information, but they struck it out of the bill.
Got a blockchain technology for the people, by the people. Yeah. That's why I was so excited about this shit reading, 5 years ago about it. And after 6 months, I'm like, wow, the banks are done. And now look at this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Politicians getting fed by the banks and not passing the stuff that is
all the time. Yeah, this is, well, they've been getting fat off these fees, bro. And I think those days are coming to an end as well. Okay, so let's get into this more thorough report about the market structure bill. Those actual, amendments that were struck, they pulled a lot of the pork out of the bill. And then there's this potential government shutdown once again that's kind of looming as well. That hasn't been remedied as well. But let's get into this the Clarity Act, bill and market structure bill. Let's see what's really going on, because honestly, I don't think we're going to get that this year.
Do you think the bill stands a chance of advancing, given a deal with Democrats couldn't be reached?
I do. I'm actually very optimistic. Senators have been working on a bipartisan basis for the last 6 months pretty intensely. And we have 2 different bills. There's one in the Ag Committee, which has oversight and accountability over the CFTC. And the second piece of legislation is at the Banking Committee, which has oversight over the SEC and banking issues. And so because these types of digital assets have some characteristics of both commodities and securities, you need regulation under both those committees. So we have 2 different bills that are being written and worked on simultaneously that address different parts of this market structure. And I think both senators on the Banking and Ag Committee are working in a bipartisan way and in good faith.
Where does everything stand right now with the Senate Banking Committee's crypto market structure bill? And are you optimistic we could see clear rules of the road for crypto become law here in the U.S. in the near future, especially with all the disagreements in the mix? Yep. What would you say is a realistic timeline?
Well, I do believe we will reach a resolution. It is very important for the U.S. economy that we have rules of the road for this industry. Cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, digital assets provide enormous opportunity for the 30% of Americans that are unbanked or underbanked, because it provides access, easy access to different assets of value, to be able to send value worldwide instantaneously. The rails on which cryptocurrency operates are very different than existing banking rails. And so the need for this market structure regulation could not be more important. We need these rules of the road so participants know how to do things legally and appropriately. We need to have consumer protections so that newcomers into this industry and into this market know what they're buying and what the relative risk is of what they are buying. And consumer protections and disclosures will give that protection for participants. It also gives protection to the market players and the ecosystem so that people can begin to rely on this market. New York is the world financial capital market. It is the center of financial services. And I want to make sure that cryptocurrency and digital asset participants can thrive in the United States. I don't want to see those assets and those businesses go abroad because we just don't have reliable regulation here. If we write good regulation, if we write good laws, then companies will locate here, our consumers will be protected, and New York can maintain its leadership as the center of the world financial markets. And so there's so many reasons why this must get done. And I do believe that both the Democrats and Republicans who are part of this working group will get to a very good bipartisan result. They just need to keep working. And I'm optimistic that for each of the issues that are outstanding, and there's a handful of them, that we will find appropriate and strong resolutions to those issues.
Do you think they're going to get it done? That's the question. I mean, she really didn't answer the question. And obviously, she can't put a date, right? That would be pretty reckless to put a date, because she'll just be excoriated for it, because I don't think you can put a date on this. But I think she was being very optimistic. What's your take, bro?
I'm definitely not holding my breath. I tell you that much. I don't trust any of these guys. It's going to be ugly. And you know what? They may even get to Armstrong. Who knows? Money's money, man. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I really over the last few years, I've been getting so disgusted with politicians. It's off the wall.
Yeah.
It really is quite horrendous. Republicans and Democrats, it doesn't matter. A bunch of these guys are, I tell you, not pretty.
No, it's not.
We voted them in. The Americans voted them in. That's what we get.
Yeah. Oh my God. The voting thing is crazy. That's a whole nother video right there. I don't know. So Gen Z is betting big on prediction markets. Literally 31% of Americans. Can you believe that, bro? 31 that was actually surveyed are far more young than we thought. And they believe in prediction markets. And they also believe it's going to reshape the culture. This is kind of scary, but as we talk about this, let's flip to the actual market, because
I was going to say, what kind of volume?
I mean, dude, it's kind of crazy, because one of the trending, actual, subjects is Fed decisions.
6.2 billion.
Yeah, this is. I'm not joking, bro. This is big, and we'll get into the article too. You're talking about a volume of around $164 million every 24 hours. That's rolling into these markets. All right. The total volume across the board, 4.6 billion. This is bananas, right? And we're talking about young Americans, Gen Z, make up this a large portion of this particular volume in market. We're talking over 6,000 active markets. You have 4 that are in the Monad ecosystem, by the way. I'm going to do a standalone video on that. This is why I'm so bullish on Monad. They have 4 prediction markets, decentralized applications that launched with this blockchain that was already embedded. And I'm going to drop a video on that to spotlight these, especially this new one, Trendify. But back to the leading ones. You're talking Polymarket, Kalashi, I think that's how you pronounce that one. One of the leading ones here is going to be the Fed decision in January. And a lot of people are saying, 99% of the actual participants are saying there will be no change in the rate when it comes to the decision in the actual remarks, which is going to be 1:30 Central Time, my time tomorrow. LMFG. So we're not, now, honestly, this is a prediction market. we can't take this, as solid ground because we really don't know, but this is a pretty good indicator of the sentiment. 99.6% of the participants. And we're talking about the total volume within this particular situation is well over $583 million going into this particular situation. 54 million within a 24-hour period. The volume is crazy with these markets. So they're saying there's not going to be a change. 0.4% says there's going to be a 25, basis point decrease LMFG, which is that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. Only 0.1% thinks we're going to get a 50 basis point decrease. So we're not going to get a decrease in these rates. But LMFG, these markets are bonkers, and they're loaded with Gen Zers, right? The second one, go ahead, bro.
It's gambling, man. To me, it's gambling.
No, it is. Of course, yeah.
And that much money coming into it. You know what it is? Because when you do get a hit, you get so excited. You tell your friends, and all your buddies are getting into it. Mm-hmm. And everybody's got the damn cell phone. It's not like it was years ago. So put it on your Facebook, 1,000 people see it. Oh, let me check it out. I've never checked them out. I did just a little while ago, and I could even make my own bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they have other ones too. Like Trendify is a very interesting prediction market, and this one allows you to place your bets on the actual trend motion, the motion of the trend that's associated with memes or news. It's crazy, bro. And this is one of the most different dynamic ones that I've seen so far. It's in beta right now. It's not even, main right now, but it's in beta. You can get into the closed beta, but you basically betting on the actual motion of the trend. Where is it going to go? What do you predict a said meme is going to go? And I'm talking the attention, the associated attention. You could actually bet on the attention, and it's crazy, bro, where they're going with these things. But when you're looking at the second, this is number 2 trending on Polymarket right here. Democratic presidential nominee 28. We're talking 2028. Gavin Newsom is leading this, which is very scary. Very scary. 34%. The volume is crazy. People want Gavin Newsom to actually run as a presidential nominee for 2028. This is very terrifying. You have Alexandra, I think AOC. Let's go ahead and you guys know AOC. She's a runner up here, along with Josh Shapiro. Kamala Harris is back in the runnings too, as well. Pete Buttigieg. We have John Ossoff, Andy Bishop. These are the really, really long shots right here. I think all of them are long shots. Stephen A. Smith is actually on here as well. And we have LeBron James, which is nuts. He's not running for president, or is he? I don't know. Michelle Obama's on here as well. Oprah Winfrey. But Gavin Newsom is leading this by a long shot for a 2028 successful presidential run. It's crazy. Bitcoin. What price will Bitcoin hit in January? $85,000. This was the leading, and this is pretty close to being true. I think this is really, really close to being true. $85,000. This is where we're headed. We cannot keep Bitcoin over 90K. But this is, I want to go into this as we go into this actual article, because LMFG, these prediction markets are actually moving markets. A lot of people are depending on this for investment advice, which is kind of wacky in a way. By the way, the presidential election winner, this is what everybody is saying here going into 2026. For 2028 is going to be JD Vance. So the prediction markets are saying the runoff is going to be between Gavin Newsom and JD Vance, with a third runner-up, Marco Rubio. What's your take on that, bro? Because this is gonna really, really depend on what's going on from now until then. The crypto agenda, will it actually succeed? Will we be well into the crypto agenda, well past the language, everything cemented, blockchains thriving, DeFi thriving, going into 2028? What you take? Do you see this runoff between JD Vance, Newsom, and Marco Rubio?
Yeah, I see it, JD Vance. I don't know if they crazy they put up Newsom. If they do,
it is.
That's fine. They wind up losing for sure. But I see Rubio as VP. and I see 4 years advance, and then he backs Rubio as president. That's what I think. And me, I wish Rubio was president, but at the same time, Trump did the right move. That guy's a friggin' animal.
Oh, you talking JD or Marco?
No, Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio. Yeah.
Trump put him in the right spot because I was saying that he should have made him as his VP because he's that much of an animal, but he's getting more done at where he's at, as Secretary of State. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We know Mark Rubio very well here in Texas.
Yeah, all those wars getting put out. That's him. You know, Trump's taking credit for it, you know, but that was him getting out there talking to these guys.
Yeah. He got a lot of screams with Ted Cruz, but I think, he's a born Canadian, I believe. I don't think he can do that. He can run for governor, but I don't think he can do, because I think we had that issue with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He couldn't run because of his status. But yeah, I don't know about the Ted Cruz. I didn't know Ted Cruz was a Canadian. I didn't know that. I don't know. I need to make sure because I've been seeing that. I don't know if that's true or not, but very interesting. And speaking of the prediction market, let's get into this because this is very interesting. I think this is very advantageous for any ecosystem that is hosting prediction markets going forward. Like Monad, if you are building it, you got a new layer one ecosystem or whatever you're doing. If there's you're deploying ecosystem, you have DeFi, you better get your prediction market app because this thing is going to go bonkers going forward. Here's a headline here. Gen Z is betting big on prediction markets. Literally, we just seen the crazy polymarket stuff that's going on there, and a lot of that came to be, the actual truths, which is crazy. A new survey suggests that 31% of Americans and far more young people believe prediction markets will reshape the culture. 31% of Americans. Let's get into this. A third of young Americans, we're talking Gen Z, think prediction markets are the future, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. New survey data from the new Consumer and Coefficient Capitals reveals 31% of Americans believe prediction markets will become a bigger, more important part of the culture. But that number masks a generational split that's as wide as a gap between TikTok and cable news. 30% believed online betting will become a bigger and more important part of the culture. And you just brought up the fact that it's pretty much a casino. It's a glorified casino. And we're talking about sports betting versus everyday, prediction markets. 34% of that is sports, bro. So it is a casino, but there's real life factors here as well when it comes to that. Younger consumers are much more aware of the platforms like Polymarket and Kalashi. Gen Zers and millennials show 17% awareness of Polymarket versus just 4% for the Gen X and the older. Now, Kalashi awareness follows the actual same pattern, 13% for younger users, 5% for the older generation. Again, among the Gen Z and millennials and the X and older, 59% is sports. So we're gambling. DraftKings leads this essentially. And you have FanDuel, ESPN bets, and then you have a stake.com, and Caesar, Polymarket, Pick'ems, all this goes below this, but it's sports that's pretty much dominant. Is this shocking you by any chance? Because there's a lot of crypto betting as well.
Yeah, like I said, I really didn't know about it. I heard about it. And so I just looked at it just over the weekend. And then you could actually go in and pick a player on a game and say he's going to get this many yards in this quarter. And I put $10 on it.
Yeah.
And then if people go up against that bet, you start rolling a bet. I couldn't believe it. And there's all kinds of stuff out there when you look, especially when you look at the football, like I said. And then if you win in the first quarter, now they place another bet.
Yeah, you could literally bet, like you said, by quarter.
While it's live, while the game is live.
Absolutely.
I wonder how much money went in with the Chicago game when they tied it. right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They beat Green Bay by doing it. They came back and did all these games. I wonder how many people bet on Chicago when they went into overtime and they lost.
Dude, it's crazy.
I bet Brian put a bet in.
Listen,
so excited.
But think about the basketball aspect of it too. It's crazy. But you have the crypto thing, because I told you about this new one that's coming off. That's going to be within a Monad ecosystem, Trendify. This thing allows you to bet on the actual attention that a meme is getting, the actual trend of the attention. So let's just say a meme coin is actually being launched. You can bet on how long this thing is going to run, when it's going to dump, how much attention is going to get on X. You're going to be able to like place your predictions on that. That's going to be bonkers. A lot of people are going to be involved in that, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's where the money's going. Yeah, and also everybody pay attention to the Atlas thing. Chainlink just bought into Atlas, so that's Fastlane, and that's Fastlane. I may looking to put my Monad into Fastlane staking.
Hey man, you know. Yeah, it's crazy. I think as we go forward, a lot of developers, they need to think about this. You may need 1 or 2 or 3, you know, prediction market decentralized applications within your ecosystem, because it's just going to bring these Gen Zers, man, because they are going hard on the prediction markets. And if you got a couple of these within your ecosystem doing great things, right, you're going to attract a lot of these Gen Zers to your ecosystem. And that's going to, you'll be able, this is a vehicle to introduce your ecosystem to Gen Z. And even the millennials that don't know about your ecosystem, including the Gen Xs, because as you can see about the percentages of this exposure, 41% of all are actually aware of these prediction markets. Pretty interesting. Now, the New Consumer is a research project that focuses on evaluating market trends and their influence on consumer behavior. The reports are developed in partnership with the Coefficient Capital and are not commissioned by the subjects under scrutiny. So it's a pretty fair report that these numbers are real, right? So we're talking about over 3,000 U.S. consumers that were actually involved here through the tunnel. They arrived at a moment when prediction markets are raising money at a fast pace. So they're actually doing these measurements right before the apex. I think it already apex. I could be wrong. Maybe we're still on the upper trajectory. And I'm talking about Polymarket and Classic because they've been out. These are some of the initial launches here. Last month, Kalashi raised over $1 billion at an $11 billion valuation. Intercontinental Exchange, the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, dropped $2 billion into Polymarket alone at a $9 billion valuation. So these two did pretty well. I think going forward, you're going to see this happen to a lot of other markets as well, because the new prediction markets are different. They're doing different things. Like I told you about Trendify, they're doing it a different way. This is evolving LMFG. So if you are, and I'll leave it at that. If you are a developer, if you are thinking about pushing an ecosystem, not just dropping a chain with zero TVL, zero DeFi, you know, if you're really serious about it, you may have to think about adding some prediction markets or doing something different like a lot of devs are doing, because this is how you're going to get Gen Z involved into your ecosystem. This is how you're going to get that exposure, through prediction markets. All right, LMFG, if I'm launching an ecosystem, if I'm launching the L1, I'm damn sure making sure that I have at least 1 or 2 prediction market apps embedded within my ecosystem. Am I right here? I mean, because this is where it's going. This is where the exposure is going. I could be wrong. But as far as these numbers, you devs need to be thinking about this. I know Monad devs are thinking. They got 4 within their ecosystem. So we'll see how this goes, man. Moving on to AVAX. This is it's good news or bad news. I don't know how to. I'll just say it's good news, but zero inflow is very troubling. AVAX gets first US ETF as VanEck debuts X, the actual AVAX fund. Now, this has been news going across the board, but I want to talk about it just a little bit. This AVAX was the latest altcoin to get a spot ETF, guys. Now, I told you, if you listened to me last year, I told you guys there was going to be a lot of this going into 2026. This is just the first of many. There are baskets too that are going to be actually approved as well. Once we get the market structure bill, if we do get it this year, that'd be very advantageous for these ETFs. I believe this one in particular, the reason why it fell flat is because there is no language like we were told we were going to get at the turn of the year. Crypto market structure bill, we don't have that. Clarity Act, we don't have that. The Genius Act, we have that. But there are a lot of amendments that are going to be going into that as well. This AVAX ETF fell, it hit a wall, but I think it's going to be okay. Now, the first US spot Avalanche ETF, this fund offers investors exposure to spot AVAX tokens, performance, and staking rewards as well. LMFG, we talked about the availability of staking when it comes to the ETFs. This is what I think is going to produce more new all-time highs going forward in the next 5 years, because not only will you be able to buy at a discount, normal investors who do not want to go into the DeFi route, use these DeFi wallets, they can just do it via these exchange vehicles, these ETF vehicles. You can stake it as well. So this is a whole new level of a lockup. There's already AVAX that's locked up. Now you have another dynamic here. You'll be able to stake the ETFs too. This, I think this is going to produce new all-time highs going forward for a lot of altcoins. What do you think?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Why not? You're getting yield. A question for you though.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that we didn't see that there's zero inflow, but
for yesterday.
But do we get to see that inflow? It's really not on blockchain anymore, right? Let's just say whoever the holder is, the broker is, they have, let's say, 1 million of these coins or 1 billion of them. So when somebody buys an ETF, that's through their site. That's not on chain.
No. This data is reported.
They have to report it, right?
Right. There are reporting agencies that are. Yeah, I got you right here.
Correct in that question statement, I guess.
No. That's a good question, because it is a different reporting agency. Obviously, these are isolated ETF vehicles. This is Van Eck, essentially, is what we're talking about. But I'll give you some nuances on the actual, occurrence here. The Van Eck Avalanche ETF, the first spot ETF, US ETF exposure to AX, right? We're talking about AVAX exposure to retail stakeable, essentially, launched on NASDAQ on the 26th. You guys know that. Now, it started trading with seed capital, resulting in a total net assets of around 2.41 million as of the date of the launch. Now, LMFG, this thing recorded 0 net inflows on the debut, right? We don't know what's going on today, so we'll get that information reported. And a lot of this is delayed. Sometimes the reports are delayed and they're not published for like 2 or 3 days. So that kind of sucks. I wish we can get real time, inflows on this, but we cannot, unfortunately. Hopefully that'll be remedied going forward. We can get some real time ETF inflow dates. Some people do try to do it with their external platforms. You have third-party reporting as well. But this is how it goes. Now, the first debut date, 0 inflows, bro. Trading volume was around, I think, $330,000 was the trading volume for that debut. As of the latest update that I see right now in front of me, the ETF's NAV was $24 actually, with year-to-date returns negative 4.92. Now, this is very early. This thing just launched, so don't take these numbers very, very, very hard, right? But we're talking about a negative return here. Now, noting the inception date was around the 22nd of December 2025, which they should have launched back then. They did not. They were delayed. This one was particularly delayed. Though active trading began January 26, no inflow data for January 27 has been publicly available yet. So this is where we stand as of now. That has been reported. 0 inflow, bro. Negative 4.92% on that return. Kind of bearish, but we just started. So, LMFG, I think it's going to be okay. I mean, this ETF was launched right in the middle of a very, very turbulent geopolitics, right? Gold and silver sucking the oxygen out of the space. It's like Tom Lee was saying, it wasn't a very good time to launch this, but they did. And I think you're going to get more US, ETFs going forward. They have to do it. It's bittersweet, but they have to do it. Now, this is really cool about this fund. The fund offers investors exposure to spot AVAX token performance and staking rewards, all while expanding the actual pool of the crypto ETFs available in the US currently. Now, here's an actual quote from Van Eck director. It's going to be Cal DeCruz. We see AVAX or Avalanche as one of the only handful of smart contract platforms alongside Ethereum and Solana equipped to offer the network throughput. And in Avalanche's case, customization as well. That institutions will demand as tokenization or RWAs. That movement accelerates going forward. So this is a huge endorsement for AVAX blockchain, LMFG, being compared to Ethereum and Solana. Smart contract performance level up to par, throughput up to par. They say it's going to be great for tokenization. Now, we already see that. We saw that last year when it comes to a lot of RWAs that were landing on the AVAX blockchain. This is a pretty decent endorsement to this OG blockchain. It's been around for a while. Compared to Ethereum and Solana, I believe Monad is going to be there as well very, very quickly. We'll see what's going to happen with the rebuild and the reconstruction of the power infrastructure. I think those devs get everything right, and I think that's going to be a formidable opponent as well going forward with tokenization and RWAs. We talked about ADA. There's a lot of players, Suchain, but AVAX got a really, really cool endorsement right here. What's your take, bro? I know it hit a wall, but I think if I'm looking to get into blockchain tech that's going to be used, here's a key word, used in the real world, actually exercised, all of these great attributes being applicable, this is a great endorsement, bro.
Definitely big time. You've been screaming RWAs. That's an avalanche.
No, absolutely, man. It sounds like you're jamming out, bro. What are we listening to, man?
Yeah, I wrote Jimi Hendrix in the background. Sorry,
Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. No, it's you're right, and I think a lot of those investors are going to be jamming out too in the next 4 years. AVAX, I think it's pushing. It's a little bit under where it should be, but I think it's an easy $200 token coin. I'm sorry, going forward. Once we get past all of this BS, I'll say it lightly. The BS. Once we get past that, I think we'll be good. We'll be good to go. I want to get to this too as well because this is the talk of the town. This is why you're seeing all this volatility, guys. Silver. I bet you didn't think we'll be talking about silver and how it's crushing crypto. This is the actual consensus. Silver, this is a headline, which is crazy. I'm reading this out loud. Silver is crushing crypto as digital gold narrative unravels. I can't believe I just said that. We're talking about silver.
Last year you were saying.
Yo, I know. Everybody,
this silver, this is crazy. Better get into this silver.
And everybody was laughing at me.
$30 then? Yeah. $35?
I think it was $24. But everybody was like, Mike, you're crazy. I know.
Yeah, maybe lower. I remember you were telling me, and I just didn't have the funds. Yeah. And everybody else was buying it.
Bro, I bought it at $15, bro. And see, a lot of people are like, you're crazy. Silver's, it's useless. Metals are useless. How could you say that now?
It's just silver. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, obviously metal is not useless. Silver is not useless. Palladium is not useless. Copper is not useless. Okay. Gold is not useless. I think that's an absurd notion. Run away from anybody that tells you metals are useless. Just run away from them. They're morons. I mean, look at what silver's doing. Crazy. I mean, copper's at $6, bouncing around at $6. My God, what is going on with fiat? It's crashing. That's what's going on. Unfortunately, it's affecting Bitcoin. It's affecting the space as well. Because people see what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum. They don't want to lose any money. And they see these precious metals skyrocketing, going bonkers. Now let's get into this. Silver is leaving cryptocurrencies in the dust. That's right. I actually said that. Delivering a brutal reversal for the digital gold trade as investors pile into physical assets amid trade war fears and geopolitical uncertainties. So there's an underlying factor there as well. And I always told you guys, silver is a barometer. It is a great barometer when it comes to the health of not only the financial sectors of not only our country, but the world, but the actual financial health of everything when it comes to commodities, when it comes to oil. Essentially, it's a great barometer. When this thing starts pumping, you better look out, because something's wrong. Something has horribly went wrong when you have silver at $110 and you have gold at $5,100. Something has went horribly wrong. Now, silver serves more than 8% on money to record above $110 an ounce, guys. Some of these specialty coins are almost $150. I don't know if you guys actually trade silver, but there are specialty coins as well that have greater value than the market of some of the regular silver, the industrial grade silver, and some of the basic coinage when it comes to collectibles. You have some silver, fine maple, Canadian maple mints that are worth way more than $110, right? I own one. So you're looking at a base ounce price right here, but you get a hold of one of those really, really nice collectibles. You're probably pushing around $150 right now with your collectibles. Industrial silver, probably around 110, but I digress from that. Now, this is going to be extending a rally that has pushed the metal up abruptly 270% LMFG since early 2025. So silver is outperforming pretty much everything right now. Over the same period, major cryptocurrencies have slumped when measured against silver, with XRP collapsing to around 80% relative to the metal since 2025. When I tell you silver is outperforming everything, it is. This is highlighting a dramatic shift into investor preference away from digital assets and stocks as well, and towards tangible safe havens like silver and gold. This is what's happening. The divergence has been stark. XRP has fallen from roughly 10 ounces of silver per token in the July time frame 2025 to just over 0.02 today. That's an 80% drop in 7 months of LMFG. So again, here's that barometer effect with silver. Very, very interesting. Now, Bitcoin has declined about 11% over the past year, while silver has exploded way, way higher, leaving silver's market capitalization roughly 3.5 times larger than Bitcoin. A striking blow to the cryptocurrency market, long held as the store of value. This narrative has been eroded by precious metals. And I'm going to tell you somebody that's been talking about this. Peter Schiff has been screaming this, and everybody's like, he's crazy. Peter doesn't know what he's talking about. Actually, Peter knew exactly what he was talking about. And he was telling people this for years. This is going to happen. And it's happening, right? Other digital assets have fared a little better. Ethereum is down around 70% against silver over the past year, while Solana has lost more than 60% as far as silver is concerned. Altcoins continue to plunge as well. We see these guys are actually pumping right now, but to new all-time lows when valued against silver. So LMFG. As we wind the showdown, silver is killing it. Gold is killing it. And actually, let's go ahead and move to this actual stock market report before we get into the giveaway, because this is crazy. Now, what we're looking at here is world indices. Now, by the way, LMFG, I don't know if you saw this, man. You got the Dow Jones down almost 500 points, but yet the NASDAQ is up almost 300. S&P, 28 points. What's going on here, bro? What's going on with the Dow? It's weird. I mean, everything's,
Yeah, that's definitely off the wall. Unusual.
It's very unusual. It just screams manipulation. All right. Selective manipulation. That's what it screams to me. Nikkei's doing absolutely fantastic, but the actual futures with the Dow down again as well. So when you're looking at the commodities, though, you're looking at oil, LMFG, still well below $70. These oil conglomerates, they are not making money right now, guys. Gold is $5,200, up 102 points, guys. We're looking at almost a 2.5% increase in the value of gold. This is abruptly and aggressively pushing you up to $5,500, while you have silver, $112. Copper, $5.94. This is ridiculous. This screams Mayday. We're in a tailspin when it comes to fiat. Let's go to the bond market, because the 10-year is up 0.71%. You have the 30-year yield getting really close to 5. That is bad, guys. All right. That is very, very bad. So You wonder why everybody is moving into metals. This is why. Something horrible has went wrong. Something very bad has happened to the financial system, and I don't think they can fix it. Because if you look at the Japanese 30 yield, it is going up to, it's getting pretty close to 4. So LMFG, I don't know that Warren Buffett bet. I don't think that's going to go well. I'm pretty sure we sent a lot of dollars into yen too recently. That's not going to go well. It did not help the 30 yield. So 30-year yield, I'm sorry. So when you're looking at the cryptocurrency market, when you're looking at stocks, it's a ticking time bomb, guys. And I'm just going to keep it real with you. And this is why you see a lot of smart money moving into the metals. LMFG, what's your take, bro? If you were pushing really hard in this space, are you following that forward, or are you moving into metals too as well, or are you holding tight? What are you doing?
I pretty much would hold tight, look for yield, and just let this settle out and let's see what they do. Again, this Clarity Act, I mean, I hope to God Hoskinson ain't right with 2029, but it may not be until after the midterms, guys. You watch. There's got to be pushback on this. And remember, if it goes in as it's true, as it is, I see Trump vetoing it once he's.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
He's not just going to sign it. He's going to read through it. And guess who's going to read through it? Barron and Junior. You know what I mean?
Yep,
and a shitload of lawyers. And they're going to say red, red, red. They're going to put all the red marks on it and hand it back to the Senate. And that's all that's going to happen. That's what I see coming. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely got to get the.
It's really, like you said, dude, it's so bad, man.
It's really bad.
It's bad for the people. It's great for the banks. And that's why Garlinghouse, and that's why you're seeing all the retail exodus out of XRP right now. They're pissed. Go check out go on their Discords on the different projects and stuff. People ain't happy.
No, absolutely. I already know. You got a lot of devs, man. They may just cut and run. LMFG. When the bottom finally comes out, when Bitcoin gets down pretty close to 50K, they're going to cut and run. It happens every time.
And if that happens, it's not going to be an issue for Ripple. And this is their whole intentions anyway. They don't really care. They don't really care. They're there for the institutions. That's it. And the more traffic they get, the more XRP gets burned. All the XRP gets burned with fees. So in 10 years, where's it going to be? Who knows? We'll see.
Now, but I think the only thing that can reverse this is a rate cut. Now, Rick Reeder potentially could be the next Fed, right? This is what he said recently about cuts and all this good stuff. I don't agree with it, but we'll close out with this.
I think you got room to get that funds rate down 100 basis points.
Why aren't they all talking as if they have room? And not everybody agrees with your assessment. They're worried about sticky inflation. They look at the CPI and they say, well, yeah, it beat expectations, but it still shows that it's still a bit of a problem and it's above our target.
So, Scott, I think there's something that's really important. How the interest rate tool affects inflation. You think about the Fed raised rates 500 basis points. The impact on the economy, inflation, I would argue, not terribly significant. The interest rate tool doesn't do a lot today. You think about how companies finance CapEx, big cap. You're not borrowing. You think about the banks are asset liability. The interest rate tool is not that important, except for a couple of big factors. What it does to housing, and you look at mortgage applications, building permits, housing starts, new home sales.
Frozen.
Stuck. The mortgage rate has to come down. You drop the funds rate, there's some yield curve steepening that probably happens. And then the other side of it is, the low income people who are the borrowers, you're actually, they are getting hurt by this. High savings, older people are actually benefiting from the high rates. And the last thing that I will say, I don't think the funds rate has to be at 4 3/8. The cost to the government, we have too much debt in this country. To charge an extra.
Well, he is so right about that. Now, for a potential Fed chair to actually admit that, now he may change his tone once he's elected if he is put in office, right? But for him to say that out loud, at least we know he's, his train of thought is on the right track.
Good, brother.
Yeah, I think he's on the right track because we need to do something about this debt. We don't need to continue to inflate the currency and pile up on the debt. That's why we're here. Right. That's why everybody's dumping treasuries right now. Okay. So far I like it, but they usually change their tone once they're elected, you know. Once they go into the meeting with the cigar-filled room, and they come out a different person. I don't know, but so far, you know, this is potentially going to be the next chair.
100 basis points. When I think the transmission of how it impacts inflation that I think is dull to start with, is it worth it? It's a pretty high price to pay.
If the White House is listening to what you're saying right now, they're all standing up yelling, yes, yes.
We are now talking about a Fed that can move 25 basis points, and maybe they do it 3 times till the end of the year. Moving 25 basis points of the overnight funding rate is not that exciting. There are so many innovative things. When we finance resi, commercial real estate, asset backs, you think about Capstack, you think about what a Fed could do. So whoever ends up being the Fed chair, there's so many innovative things. How do you use a balance sheet? How do you use liquidity? Where on the yield curve is it?
Are we past that? And I think we're past all that. I just showed you the 10-year and the 30-year. I hope we're going to need some new tools because the old toolbox is not working. I'm sorry, it's not working. I don't know.
And everybody remember, no matter who he nominates, this still goes up against to the Senate.
Yep.
They have to approve it. So all you need is Republicans getting saying, don't put this guy in there.
Well, that's what the midterms. I don't know. Is Trump going to cancel midterms? I think he's going to try to cancel the I think he is. He's already hinted. You know.
I love you, brother.
You know he's going to do it. He's going to figure out some way because I don't think they're winning midterms. So, you know, he's going to think of some way to either delay midterms or cancel it. You know, maybe this is what the Iran thing is about. I don't know.
My biggest thing, and you see what they're doing. So every bill that they're trying to get in before they close the government this Friday, and you're not hearing nothing on the news, right? Every one of them is the SAVE Act is in there.
Yep.
So they're saying they're going to force the SAVE Act. Otherwise, the Democrats didn't pass it, you know, and the government shut down again. They're going to pass it, I think. And that's it. Watch what happens. They pass that SAVE Act. I think it's going to be a whole nother world come November 3rd, 2026, man.
Yeah, no, I think. And you know, I want to read a very chilling post here. And it's a credited post. This is what a lot of the world, including the IMF, is thinking about our dollar. And this is affecting a lot, guys. This is the rooting effect. This is what's causing the mass exodus right now out of a lot of the stocks, out of crypto into metals. We got to get into this before we get out of here because this is pretty chilling when I actually read this. Now, breaking. U.S. dollar is dumping hard since the Fed rate checks and yen intervention rumor started. Now, that yen intervention is not a rumor. It is happening. All right, because Japan is out of control, tail spinning, out of control. And remember that carry trade is very important to market, to assets, essentially. Very important. If that thing goes boom, the assets go boom. Mass exodus. You're talking about all-time lows all over the place if the carry trade blows up. Now, the International Money Fund here, the IMF has also confirmed that it is now stress testing scenarios where there is a rapid sell-off of the U.S. dollar assets. They are actively doing stress testing and actually doing, how should I say? These scenarios will be field testing, I guess. It will be in preparation for basically a dollar collapse. This is what the IMF is doing. Kristalina Georgieva, I think that's her, I'll probably screw her name out, but let's just call her Miss G. Miss Gio said that the IMF is modeling even unthinkable events, including a fast exit from the dollar, guys, because global financial risks and policies are uncertain at this point in time, and that uncertainty is rising profusely. This means the IMF, International Money Foundation, I forgot what the F stands for. Damn, I had it in my head, but the IMF is officially treating stress in the dollar as a real global risk. They are preparing for what happens if the trust of the dollar drops suddenly. And that is actually happening, guys, right now as we speak. Treasuries are being dumped hard. With this, the dollar will get weaker, and assets owners, or the owners of the assets that are actually attached to the dollar, will be the biggest winners. Now, before 1985, it was also, and this actually began before even that, the actual rate checks, policy signals, and rumors of coordination were actually talk of the town. Now, the dollar started weakening before any official intervention was actually announced. And we're talking about the Japan intervention with the yen. Now the same pattern is showing again. Now, this is what this looks like. Now, this is just, today. This is our dollar versus the yen, guys. LMFG. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you need to get your affairs in order just in case maybe in a couple of weeks, this thing goes boom. This thing goes absolutely boom. What are you going to do? I think we need to start thinking about this, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm heavy in a dollar. And I'm pretty sure if you're in America, you are heavy in the dollar. You're holding a lot of dollars right now. I don't think they're going to tell us when it does go boom. We're just going to figure it out when we go get groceries, or we go to the store one day.
Equity in the
you know what I'm saying?
The equity in the house is holding the dollar.
No, absolutely.
People got to realize, you know what I mean? That's when you say holding the dollar, people think, I only got a couple grand in the bank. Yeah, but what else do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. Even
everything that you own, all your real world assets are in the dollar.
Your home,
real world assets under your name is the dollar.
Absolutely.
Hey, and like we keep saying with Buffett, right? And if this keeps happening, but here's the gig. He's dumped on so many. Dump, take his, I don't know, 50% and run.
You know what?
And then go buy silver or gold and watch it bounce another silver, jump up to $200 in a couple weeks after.
Bro, gold is going to go so freaking high. I think gold is going to get 10K.
I see you guys hitting 10K
this year.
Yeah, I see a lot of people predicting that.
Yeah, it's going crazy. 10K. Yeah, silver's probably going to get to $500, which is going to be bonkers. Here's a breaking report here. There is now 80% chance of a U.S. government shutdown on Saturday. So a lot of people are like, the shutdown was averted. No, it was not. No, it was not. They're trying to actually put a provision in the shutdown bill that will actually unmask ICE agents. It's going to require all ICE agents to remove their mask. I don't think that's going through, guys. I don't think that's going to be allowed to go through. But this is what's going to stall that shutdown bill.
They're totally after DHS, period. 100%.
Yeah, and I don't think you should do that. I think a lot of ICE agents are going to quit. If you ask any ICE agent, hey, are you going to still go out there and do your job, unmask? They're going to say, hell no. A lot of these guys don't even want their mother to know that they're out there doing what they're doing. They don't want their sisters and brothers to know that they're out there doing what they're doing. They're going to quit. So if you think that's going to be allowed to go through, think again. This is why you're not going to see a government shutdown bill passed. It's not going to be passed. But they're saying it is. They're saying 80% chance of the actual government shutdown bill not being passed. Is on Polymarket. I think this is one of those predictions that is spot on. There is no way that's going to be able to be put into that, and that's going to stall that bill out. So yeah, crypto market structure bill being stalled because of a bunch of BS. You have this particular shutdown bill that's going to be thrown to Saturday because of a bunch of BS. A lot of this is stalling out a lot of market activity, right? Then you have the macro risk when it comes to Bitcoin, the Bitcoin rebound, geopolitics. It's so crazy right now. Crypto cannot catch a break. I don't know, brother. So it's a lot. It's not all good. So it's not all good. So
yeah, but everybody's got to realize, and this is what's shaking out the retail right now. You got to still.
Oh, they're running. Yeah.
I have so much stuff that's in the red, but some of them are the real world the projects that are there, the blue chips, because I got into them in 20 and 21 at their peaks, and I just been DCAing in here and there. Stake it if you can, and just keep it there. Pay attention to the projects. And to me, once this goes, the ones that survive, they will explode in price, and that's when you're going to see the trillions of dollars come into this. But it's the politicians right now. Everyone, pay attention who you vote for. Watch who's voting on these acts. See how they vote. And pay attention come November.
No, absolutely.
That's what I can say, man. I'll tell you right now, I'll cross a lot. I'm mainly a Republican. I consider myself an independent. I always register myself as independent, and I will vote Democrat. I don't care. Anybody pro crypto. If you're not pro crypto, I ain't voting for you. Period.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We thought we had a crypto friendly president. I think he still is, but he's got a lot on his plate. And, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and spin this wheel. Let's get some members, some Solana in their wallets. We're going to get 3 member winners here. Let's go. I think it's going to be crypto for retire. I do believe so. And I think that is who it is. Absolutely. So, crypto for retire, 1 congratulations, brother. So, we hadn't seen him win in a while. So, all I need is that Solana address and we'll get you your prize. We need 2 more. Let's go. That's a good spin right there. I think I'm going to call, I think it's Crypto Joy. I think it's going to be Crypto Joy, and absolutely, that's who it is. So Crypto Joy is going to be the second winner. Suzu, yeah, you're on the wheel, brother. Suzu 15,000, you are on the wheel. I see you right now, brother. So we have Crypto Joy, Crypto for retire. We're going to get 1 more, guys, before we get out of here. Let's go. I think it's going to be, it's a close one. I don't know about this one. So it's going to be Enchant 987. Beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to do a little a recap on this as we bump up the soundtrack just a little bit. So I want to hand clap the winners. Where's it at? There we go. So Crypto for retire is going to be the first one. It's going to be 141 is going to be that last number. Crypto Joy 600, which I hadn't seen in a while. There you go. Crypto Joy, number 2. And to round it up, it's going to be Enchant 987. So I haven't seen these in a while. So this is really cool to see the newer winners on the wheel that pop up that I haven't seen in a while. Hand clap to you guys. All I need is that soul address and we'll get you your prize very, very quickly. So LMFG, as we look at, I don't see any new news popping up. We did get Eric Trump again saying banks do not like that you can send 500 million with Bitcoin on a Sunday night and pay 0 fees. That's not actually correct, LMFG. I think Eric needs to, you're going to pay some fees and it's going to take a while to get that Bitcoin. What do you say, brother? Are we telling the truth here? $500 million of Bitcoin, pay 0 fees. I think every time I send Bitcoin, I'm paying fees, brother. And it's very slow too as well. I don't know. I digress.
Right. Yeah. Bitcoin. I don't understand that statement.
I don't think they really understand blockchain. I don't think the Trumps really understand crypto and blockchain. A lot of the governors and a lot of the congressmen that are pro crypto, I don't think they really understand what the hell they're getting into. And I think this is why we have the crypto market structure bill being delayed, wacky things being done, amended with the Genius Act. And then we have the Clarity Act. That's just, it's, I don't know. And then we have this from Eric Trump. You can send 500 million Bitcoin and pay 0 fees. That is incorrect. And you're not gonna get that in seconds. That's not how Bitcoin works. I think they want Bitcoin to do certain things that it cannot do, brother. they're going to have to alter Bitcoin. They're going to have to reconfigure.
Or that word Bitcoin. You keep saying Bitcoin Cash. That's what, right?
Yeah,
Bitcoin
yeah. You know, right. Yeah, they're gonna have to do some sidechain shit because it just doesn't work this way with the OG. And I think Eric needs to be, re-educated on the intricacies of Bitcoin. Even Lightning has issues. Even these other, alternatives, they still have issues too. So, it's not as quick. Now you can go on the exchange and get some Bitcoin pretty quick. They have their own pools, but yeah, it is what it is. I guess he's talking about something that I don't know about, but currently when you're dealing with the OG, it is not as fast as people think it is. It takes a while. And I don't think the banks have anything to worry about when it comes to Bitcoin now. When you talk about Solana, yeah, that's a threat. Monad, AVAX, right? Suchain, XRP, that's your threat. But it is what it is. I have to say it is what it is. LMFG, your lasting takes before we get out of it, bro. We're looking at an actual market push. What do you think? We're going over 90K. Looks like ETH is pushing pretty hard. BNB is pushing up. XRP is flat, but the alts are pushing. We still have a RSI score of neutral, so we're not overbought, oversold. So a lot of people are holding right now. What's your take, bro, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I think we're going to just stay here for a while till the Clarity Act. Between give and take $5 to $7 grand where we are today, and you see the markets. You watch; they're penciling in. Watch the futures tonight, and they're already. I think they're penciling in. Powell is going to just say status quo. That's my prediction, and the markets won't do much difference than where we are right now throughout this weekend. And let's see what happens with this Clarity Act. I know, and everybody's like, "Oh, the agriculture, they're going to make they're going to have a meeting and make a decision." That's only a piece of the Clarity Act, So
right.
Don't hold your breath on getting this thing passed.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get it. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get it, man. 2029. I don't know. But hand clap for the market is trying very, very hard. But we need retail. This is my plea for retail. Please come back. Please come back to us. Everything is going to be okay.
100. Their exodus right now. This is what the whales and the big boy banks want, because they're going to scoff it all up. Yeah. And then you're going to have to get in there, and you're going to need it to whether you're buying stuff, that's where your money's going to be. When you're buying stuff, doing things, you're going to sell a house or something, you're going to be able to do it so much cheaper utilizing these coins. You have to get them now. 5 years, 10 years down the road, guess what? They're going to own them all. If you hold what you hold, by that time, those prices are going to be astronomical from when they are today, I believe. And it may take 5, 10 years, whatever it is, but the ones that are still here 10 years from now, if you hold today, you will be extremely happy. And I pretty much put my life on it. The only thing is, I'll probably be dead by that time.
Let's not say that, brother.
Hey, life is life, brother. It is what it is, man.
Hey, look. Hey, listen, man. Listen, the technology is rolling. Now, listen, man. The technology we have here, man. They're probably kicking another 50 years for you. You get the Neuralink implant, to fix you up, right? It's getting crazy.
You want to be robot suits like I'm running around.
Yeah, man. You can be LMFG, the android, right? You get you a couple of.
There's the electric heart they got. Somebody made an electric heart.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're joking, but yeah.
And you don't have to worry. And you don't have to worry about when you get a transplant like that. You can get a transplant heart, but when you get something like that, you're taking so many antibiotics. You wind up killing your liver, your kidney, everything else goes because it's trying to get rid of all of that.
Overstressing it. Yeah. Ibuprofen is one of the biggest liver killers out there. But I digress. Everybody's on it. But it really destroys your liver. So, to the notion of what we're talking about with that mass exodus, I'm going to read this to you before we get out of here. Stablecoin supply, which is a pretty good barometer too of the exodus, fell at around $2.24 billion over the past 10 days. A lot of people were moving fiat, were selling their stablecoins, consolidating into stablecoins, selling, converting into fiat and then moving into metals. So we're talking about roughly 2.24 billion in stablecoin conversions into fiat. So the exodus is real. You guys be careful, man, out there. Stay warm, and we'll see you on the next show. Take it easy.